Thank you kindly, tech wizards, the tech wizards of Zoom. We're learning all kinds of best practices around the world, and one was to Zoom the in-person, to mute the in-person room for the folks who are on Zoom to be able to chit chat, but then we have to work it out to keep it going. So we cannot hear you in the room yet, if you're wondering.
Hear me though, right?
Speak right into that directional microphone and then we can, but yes, it appears to be unmuted.
Can you hear me, Kate?
Perfect.
Follow to order, Kate. Let's go.
Let's roll. Good morning, everyone. I'll call this meeting to order. It is 7:02, so we are 2 minutes late. Let's roll. I will ask for announcements later in the meeting. I also am the invocator today, so I'm going to give an inspiration and roll right into the pledge, and then to hand off the meeting to our Toastmaster of the day, who's Marty, who's also on Zoom. Is there anything in the room we need to know? You would let me know. You just come right up to the lectern and be on deck. Please follow the agenda on your phones if you can, because I don't believe we have a printed agenda in the room. So we'll call this meeting to order, and today's theme is Memorial Day. Today, let us pause to reflect on the sacrifice made by those who paid the ultimate price on behalf of our nation. May their sacrifices never be forgotten. May the pain of their families never be overlooked. I hope that someday we will celebrate Memorial Day as just a memory of the time before we started living in peace and understanding. Let us guide one another toward a more harmonious existence. Let us honor those who were willing to give up their lives that we may gather here today to exchange ideas freely. Let us speak to one another, and even more importantly, let us listen to one another. May this guide us towards respecting and understanding one another. On this Memorial Day and for all time, may we never forget the fallen. You are remembered, you are honored, and we thank you, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The pledge to the flag.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you in the room for leading that, and thank you, Marty, for also adding a flag for our Zoomers. In the interest of time, I will hand our meeting right over to our Toastmaster of the day, because I do not see anyone waiting to make announcements at the lectern. Although if someone in the room at some point could share with us who's in the room and who's on Zoom.
Kate, if I may interrupt you, it appears we have a guest.
Oh, thank you very much, Mark. Do we have our guest Mike returned on Zoom this week? Mike, are you in Pennsylvania or New Jersey or something today?
I am in New Jersey this morning, about to leave for the airport. So I'm on my way back today.
Well, thank you very much for returning and joining us from there, putting in that time. Thank you, Mark. Is anyone in the room? Again, I would hope you'd come up to the lectern if you had something to share, or we have a guest in the room. Doesn't appear to be. So Marty, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kate. And thank you for all those that filled in roles and for everyone that confirmed their role for our meeting. I chose the theme Memorial Day today. As many of you know, Memorial Day is held on the last Monday of May each year. I'm sure many of you have things you're looking forward to doing, places you're going to go, but let us not forget, as Kate mentioned, and at this point, I'll make a toast to those in the military that died while serving our nation in the United States Armed Forces. Raise a glass to them, and we appreciate their service. I'd like to see a show of hands. Anyone on Zoom or in person that knew a family member, had a family member that lost their life while serving in any of our wars. Oh, thank you. And we appreciate their service, and we appreciate everyone's service, all the people that perished in serving our United States of America. Moving into the roles, I would like to start with our word master, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest, Michael. Good morning. The word today will be fortitude, which is defined as mental and emotional strength in facing difficulty, adversity, danger, or temptation. An example used in a sentence: never once did her fortitude waver during that long illness. So fellow Toastmasters, please be sure to incorporate the word whenever you are speaking, particularly during table topics. And I will put the word and definition in the chat.
Marty, I'm going to jump in and read off a list of the people in the room.
Thank you very much.
Mike Florio, Natalie, Sylvia, myself, Beth, Gerald, Carol Ann, Steve, Jill, Joe, Margot, Len, David, Nancy, and Mike Licata. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Next person that holds a role is Mike Licata, our master. Mike.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our guest Mike this morning. My job this morning as master will be to count the ahs, ums, and pregnant pauses and report back at the end of the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Next, our grammarian, Margot.
Yes, it's going to be a challenge for me to do this job today. I forgot my crown. What am I going to do? I have to do it with more fortitude than normal, but I will be listening for good and poor uses of the English language. Please, let's not use gunnas and wannas. I'm just going to tally those, but other things that we used to fill in, let's watch our speech today. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Margot. Next, a quote master, Beth Banks. Please share a quote with us, Beth.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I have two quotes for today. One is from Tamra Bolton. This is the day we pay homage to those who didn't come home. This is not Veterans Day. It's not a celebration. It is a day of solemn contemplation over the cost of freedom. My second one is from John F. Kennedy. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Beth. Next, to add a little levity to our meeting, we have our jester, David Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I found it difficult to find some jests for Memorial Day weekend, but I have some fortitude that I'm going to work through and share some really cringeworthy jokes with you. What is a cow's favorite holiday? Memorial Day. How many feet are in a yard? Well, it depends on how many people show up for the Memorial Day barbecue. And finally, Dave can clap for the final one. This Memorial Day weekend, it's important to remember those who lost their battle to be swimsuit ready this summer. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. Next up, we have our timer, Carol Ann Halstead. Carol.
Today I am the timer. I will be timing table topics, which are 1 minute and 30 seconds to 2 minutes with 15-second buffer, and the green 130, yellow 145, and red 2 minutes. Our speeches, which are usually the 5 to 7 minutes, get a green light at 5, a yellow at 6, and a red at 7. And the evaluators, it's 2 to 3 minutes, 30-second buffer with a green at 2, yellow at 2:30, and red at 3 minutes. And when the red comes on, it's time to wrap it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol Ann. And our tech and gesture master, David Licata.
Good morning, everybody. I had an epiphany on the way over here. If you have a job, immediately after the Pledge of Allegiance, get in the bullpen. Get up here and get ready, and we'll move this thing along a lot faster. And I just had another epiphany 2 seconds ago, because I'm going to guard this lectern until the next speaker comes up, the next job holder comes up. Well, folks, it's Dave. I'm tech and gesture master. I took enough television courses in college to be dangerous. So if you're on Zoom, be ready. We're going to give you the whole Megillah. Right, Margot? Megillah? Thank you. And we're also going to look for the people in person. We're going to watch their gestures closely because so much of communication is unspoken. Thank you very much, Marty.
Thank you, David. Next up, we have our quiz master, Nancy Ferry.
I'm Nancy, and today my job is to encourage you to listen carefully. And at the end, I will be offering a quiz that you may join in.
Thank you, Nancy. At this point in time, we move into everyone's favorite portion of the meeting. And I know we're going to have the fortitude to pull through because we always do at AM Lockport. The table topics portion led by Steve Smith. Take it away, Steve.
Thank you. Memorial Day means a lot of things to a lot of people, and that's good. That makes my job easier up here. I have kind of a short list today of people to call on. A lot of things happen on Memorial Day. One of the rare things, it happens to be my birthday this weekend, so I always thought it was great. I got my birthday off from school and work. So Natalie, you don't have a job. Hello. Do you have any particular Memorial Day traditions that you like to do every year?
Good morning. I don't really have any traditions for Memorial Day specifically, but I do have a lot of military adventures. I would like to say, though, that my grandfather died in World War II and is buried in France. And when we were living in Italy, we had the opportunity to go visit his grave, and the French that take care of the graveyard were so incredibly generous and kind to us. They showed us the grave, they told us about how he ended up there, and there's all this history at the actual cemetery, and it was just a really incredibly beautiful thing. So I am failing at the so's and ands this morning. Yeah, and that's all I have today. Oh, and it took great fortitude for me to come up today because I know.
Thank you. Well, my father and my brother were both veterans. So yeah, Memorial Day has kind of a special meaning to me too. Is Eric there? I see he was on Zoom. Is he handy? I don't hear anything. Okay,
Steve, I'm here, Steve.
okay. So Eric, what does Memorial Day mean to you? And remember the word of the day.
Remind me what the word of the day is again?
Fortitude.
Fortitude
Fortitude. Thank you very much.
means strength.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest. What Memorial Day means to me is that to reflect on all the lives that were lost, and we should remember them, how they sacrificed their lives for our country, and honor them with a great deal of fortitude. And also, to me, it gives me a chance to learn the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, because I have a cousin whose husband who just retired from the Army, and I put it on Facebook one time, put Happy Memorial Day, and I should not put Happy Memorial Day, just say, like, put Memorial Day as to why we are honoring the men and women who lost their lives in combat. So that gave me a lot to think about how I should put it, let's say, on social media. And I learned a lot from that. And I thank my cousin for telling me all about that. And so that's what Memorial Day means to me, is honoring the fallen and honoring their lives for serving our country. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Many of us have many plans for the weekend. We have a lot of things going on in Wilson. We have our big Memorial Day Fair. I believe that's on again this year. We have a program or a service down at the cemetery and picnics and get-togethers and all this. So, Jill. Excuse me. What are your plans for this Memorial Day weekend? Like, I don't know.
My plans for Memorial Day weekend. Over the years, they have been numerous things. For many years, I worked. Until 1999, my store was right next to the big Memorial Day Fair. And many people thought it was a boom day for me because of all the 10,000 people that came into town and walked right by my store. It wasn't. It probably would have been a better day for me financially if I was not at that location. As to this year, I had some years off without any significant things for Memorial Day. This year, we again are doing our annual Memorial Day yard sale, which is exhausting us getting it set up. Steve was grunting and groaning every time he moves. He really needs to get to see the chiropractor. Dr. Gerald, can you do something right here, right now? And because of our location, again, location, our yard sale doesn't go until 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We go until dusk because Brownie's ice cream stand is right across the street and we draw oodles of people from there. And these people do buy. So that's fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it. Because we are going until, let's see, we have much fortitude with us because Friday, we will probably start at about 7:30 and go until dusk. But as the days go on, the day will end up later. Thank you.
Thank you for reminding me how much fun this weekend's going to be. Can I get a timer's report?
Eric made time at 1:43, Jill at 2:05. However, Natalie came in at 1:05. And let's see, that would be 1:20, which doesn't make it, right? Okay, so you can vote for Eric or Jill.
Thank you. Can I get a word master's report?
Yes, Mr. Table Topics Master, I'm happy to report that all three contestants used the word. However, outside of the table topics contestants, I would say we as a group could use a little bit more fortitude in terms of using the word of the day. This is a slow pitch softball pitch, fellow Toastmasters. Let's make sure we use it. Back to you.
Thank you. I guess that leaves Eric or Jill to vote for, and I'll turn the meeting back over to Marty.
Thank you, Steve, and to all our table topics participants today, and to our timer and our word master for fulfilling your roles. Regarding the theme Memorial Day, many of you know and may have experienced the following: decorating a lost family and or relatives' grave sites with United States of America flags, had picnics, cookouts, relaxing with family, updating and planting new flowers at grave sites. And that's one tradition that holds true in my family. However, this year it's going to be a little different because I got invited to go down to Cooperstown for a sporting event Saturday, early Saturday and Sunday, and I will miss the other part of the team in my family, my sisters, who will be coming in from Rochester to decorate our family plots at a few different local cemeteries. What I did do, I didn't sneak out all the way of this, my task at the cemetery. I've already visited one cemetery and I cleaned up some of the graves, whether the maintenance man hasn't weeded around the gravestones yet or not. I pulled out as many of the big weeds as I could. And I also pulled out weeds and loosened up the soil that is currently in some of the flower pots. So my sisters will have a much easier time, I would hope. Moving into our speaking portion of the meeting, now that everyone has voted, thank you. Our first speaker is Mike Florio. And Mike comes to us with a vast background. I know he's going to be presenting out of the effective coaching path. And Mike has some wonderful coaching experience, not only with his sons in different sports such as baseball and soccer and golf, but with the employees where he works at Waste Management, coaching those people and their jobs. My hobby, remodeling homes, and I know that takes a great deal of fortitude. Mike's evaluator this morning is Len Thornton. Len, please share Mike Florio's objectives. Len.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, Mike is our first speaker, and he is indeed speaking out of Pathways Effective Coaching Manual. Purpose today is to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. I'm sure Mike will do that with great fortitude. I know you have his title, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Len. And Mike Florio, as Len mentioned, is going to be speaking from the Effective Coaching Path, and his title is Bucket Bounty, a 5 to 7 minute presentation, Bucket Bounty. Take it away, Mike.
How is this, Len? Good? Oh, yeah, I like this. Here we go. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest, Mike. Welcome to my garden. This is one of my self-wicking system growing machines, I call it. That's right, you can grow food in buckets. And now Memorial Day weekend is typical of the growing season, to start the growing season. And it's simple to get started. It's a great way to teach people about all the benefits of gardening. It's easy to maintain, and you can quickly coach people through the process of setting up their own garden and growing their own food. It's affordable, and you get lots of healthy food, and it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun to monitor the progress of your garden. You can grow these anywhere. Patio, back porch, deck, any spot you can fit a bucket that you can have some sunshine, and away you go. You've got your own personal garden. No bug issues. No critters can crawl up and start to eat your food, your plants. And Steve, you'll appreciate this, no weeds. It's only 5-gallon bucket. And if the weather's bad, you can always bring in the bucket into your garage or your shed and avoid any kind of unpleasant weather or freezing. No need to map out some big plot of land or till soil or fence it or water. With the bucket system, it's simple. It's called a wicking system. It's easy to maintain. The bucket tells you really when to add in, when you've added enough water. There's a little weep hole right here, if you can see it. You might not be able to see it there. There's a little weep hole, and as you fill the water into the pipe, the water comes out of the weep hole, and now you know you've put in enough water, and it lasts for days that way. So you're not constantly watering. Some places, some people are watering 3 to 4 times a day their plants based on the weather. It's not like a hanging basket either, where you have a hanging basket and when you put that up and you put water in the top of it, half of it ends up on the ground because it seeps right out of the bottom. That's not the case. It's held in a reservoir here right at the bottom of the bucket, and the plant draws it as it needs it. The system's pretty much foolproof, and it has to be if I'm the one using it. So the whole system's really a little over 20 bucks. That's about the cost of, I think, maybe 4 tomatoes right now. Yeah, maybe five. But one bucket will yield you over 50 tomatoes, which that's not bad at all. I'll give you an example of what it looks like as it grows. I'll just show this to there it is in all its glory, bearing fruit all summer long. So I'll just show you here how this system works and how you put it together. It's really quite simple. You'll need a bucket, a food-friendly bucket. I like to go to Home Depot. They're food-friendly buckets. They're about $5 a piece. No big deal. And then you'll need some PVC pipe. You'll set that in. And then the important part here is the container. Now you can use really any plastic container. You can use an old milk jug. You can use, I use some corrugated pipe. I like to use this, but the key is where you drill the hole underneath. If you drill the hole too high, the water will go up and you'll drown the plant and it will die. So you want to have a little bit of airspace in the pipe. So you drill the hole. This is 3.5-inch pipe. You'll drill the hole 3 inches, and that way you'll have enough air that will help the water wick. It will help it. So you put the pipe in. Well, you first drill the hole, put the pipe in. Then I use a little bit of this fabric so that the dirt doesn't clog up the pipe. And then you put the soil in. And it's as simple as that. It can only really handle about a couple of plants. And the soil is kind of a mixture of potting soil and peat moss. About 2/3 potting soil and 1/3 peat moss. You mix that together, you put in a little bit of fertilizer, and away you go. You really don't have to mess with this at all. And I urge you to get out there and give your green thumb a try. There are plenty of YouTube videos out there on how to do these wicking systems. You can use larger buckets, and it's just really easy and a lot of fun. And if I can do it, anyone can, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike. Our next speaker this morning is Jen Zappla, and Jen will be speaking from the strategic relationships path. I believe we're in for an interesting speech. Jen has told us about many interesting ventures she's been on, and I'm sure this one will not disappoint. Jen's evaluator this morning is Gerald Stevens. Gerald, please share Jen's objectives. Gerald.
Morning, fellow Toastmasters. Jen's objectives today are, in my opinion, to entertain us all and to display her amazing Distinguished Toastmaster skills. As an aside, I feel like she has displayed fortitude today because she just came back from vacation on Tuesday and she's speaking. I don't think a lot of us would do that. So kudos to Jen for her fortitude today. And Mr. Toastmaster, do you have her title? Okay, it's back to you, Marty.
I do. Thank you, Gerald. Yes, please help me welcome Jen Zappla, the cat in the wall, 5 to 7 minutes. Jen Zappla.
Thank you, Marty. Now, fellow Toastmasters, if you were able to hear my last topic, I talked about buying a house, and this is really a follow-up to that excursion. So buying a house is important, but as I'd mentioned in my previous topic, the best option you have is to buy a house that smells like cats. However, in the event that you've done this, there is a possibility that it will indeed come with a cat. So fellow Toastmasters, if you're a pet owner or if you are a homeowner or about to purchase a home, then this topic is for you. Now, losing a cat is a common problem for cat owners. It frequently occurs when a cat is stressed. So it's very important to make sure that you're aware of your cat's stress level and maintaining that in certain ways. Now, cats go missing quite often during a move. In fact, an article from the Metro UK talks about a homeowner who discovered a cat in their floorboards 3 weeks after the previous family had moved. The family thought that the cat had run away. However, it was still in the house. Another CNN report talked about a cat surviving an astonishing 64 days when it became trapped in a moving box that went from El Paso to Anchorage in 2015. Luckily, the cat was able to survive that ordeal, but fellow Toastmasters, make sure that you are under control of your cat during a move if you're a pet owner, and be aware as a new homeowner of all the steps you need to do to remediate this situation. So I'm going to get into what we can do first. Now, number one is avoid this happening at all costs. So how to avoid your cat getting into a wall or a moving box? Again, it's a stressful event for pets. So make sure that you keep their routine as normal as possible. If you have a pet carrier, make sure that you're getting that cat used to the pet carrier well in advance of your move, not just on the day of moving. And make sure that you're either boarding or sequestering the cat to a separate room while movers are in the area. If there are escape or access points, close those. You don't want your cat to escape through a window or a door, or perhaps find a plumbing access panel into the wall of your bathroom. Now, this is a common problem, as I mentioned. It can happen to anyone. However, avoidance is best. One other way to avoid this is to not buy a house that smells like cats in the event that you are not already a pet owner. Now, the second step is to actually confirm the presence of a cat. If you've purchased a new home, you want to determine where that cat has been left. How can you do this? Look, listen, see if you hear anything. Now, hopefully, if you're aware of the fact that there could possibly be a cat in your wall, you won't have to wait 3 weeks before you hear it meowing from your floorboards. So you should definitely take a quick peek, see what you can see. And if you have a pretty good idea of where the cat may be, here are some suggestions for you. Close off that area as best can be to make sure that you're containing the cat to a specific area, for example, a bathroom. Now, another thing you can do is leave a clean litter box in the bathroom or whatever sequestered area your cat is potentially in, and see if that litter box becomes used. Then you will be able to confirm the cat is present. Another thing you can do is find a scope camera. A scope camera is actually quite useful. If you are able to put that scope camera into the wall, you may see the cat's eyes shining brightly back at you, and then you will know that there is indeed a cat in your wall. So once you have determined that the cat is present, your next step is removal. Now, here are some options for removal. My suggestion is first to call the animal control. They will probably come and set a trap and tell you to be quiet. Apparently, a cat may come out and enter the trap for food. Now, this is typically probably for a cat that's not scared or not stubborn. That's not many cats, but it could help you if your cat is none of those things. The next thing you should do is call the SPCA. They will also come and set a second trap and likely call you twice a day to confirm that you are checking said trap and ask you if you have caught the cat. Now, hopefully this will resolve in a few days. However, if it hasn't, you have a couple of options left to you. One is to contact a contractor. Now, they may be able to come and knock out a wall. This is obviously a time-consuming, expensive, stressful process for both you and the cat, and depending on the location, may be more difficult or more expensive than you are able to deal with. So here is your fourth option, and the one that I recommend the most. And this is to contact a nuisance wildlife control operator. Now, technically speaking, these individuals are regulated by the Department of Environmental Control in New York State, and their license is for wildlife only. So you will have to either beg or lie to them about the fact that this is a domestic animal that they should not actually potentially be trapping. In fact, it's actually illegal, according to the DEC, for you to move or relocate any animal off of your property. You cannot live trap and release it into a park, estate land, or anywhere, in case you are unaware of this. However, if you call and beg, they may come and set a third trap. However, they seem to have a bit more knowledge of animals and likely will be able to convince the cat that this trap is safer or different than others. That is my best recommendation. Now, finally, once you have caught the cat or removed it in whatever way necessary, there are a few final steps. Number one, close up all access points where the cat could get into a wall or escape. Number two, don't get a cat. Those are my tips for you, fellow Toastmasters. I do think that avoiding cats at all costs is important to this problem. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jen. Our third speaker this morning is Jackie Kenny. Jackie will be speaking from the Dynamic Leadership Path. And as some of you may know, Jackie Kenny has been involved with the Mental Health Association for some time now, and has been very instrumental and gracious in donating materials at some of our meetings in the past for those that may be interested in getting help for mental health for themselves, their friends, or some family members. Jackie's evaluator this morning is Joe Budnick. Joe, please share Jackie's objectives. Joe.
Marty. The purpose of Jackie's speech is to apply the skills needed to successfully lead in a volunteer organization, and for the member to share some aspect of his or her experience serving as a leader in a volunteer organization. The speech title is Staying Informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Jackie Kenny, Staying Informed.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I knew I was on the schedule to speak, and I had been thinking about what I would do. I received this little model of my new heart valve, and I was going to talk about that experience and share what it was like to have a heart valve replaced. But the events of the last few weeks have brought to the forefront mental health issues for many people. And I'm not talking about the perpetrators of these horrific acts. I'm talking about those of us who live in the communities that are affected, and those of us who live in this country. It's unbelievable that children aren't safe going to school, that you can't grocery shop without fearing for your life, that you can't go to church and worship safely. And it's created an atmosphere of stress and foreboding for so many people. I can't imagine what it's like for parents with young children, trying to explain to them why they have to learn to hide in a closet and be silent when someone is roaming the halls of their school. Not enough is done for mental health in this country, but New York State is providing some new aspects that might help. And one of them is a new 988 number that will go live in July. You will be able to call that number if you need someone to talk to. Just talk. You can also be connected to a service that you might need by dialing that number and getting what you need. In the meantime, the Mental Health Association in Niagara County is here to help. I brought some material, and I'm sorry, I just decided yesterday afternoon to do this presentation, so I don't have it lined up for you to get it online, but you can get our website easily, www.mhanc.com. You can call our office, 716-433-3780. I know those numbers by heart because I spill them out when I'm doing the mental health TV show. We are here to help each other. There is someone at the end of the line to listen when you need to talk. There is someone who will respond to you, who will give you the information you might need to come to a support group. All of our services are free, in addition to support groups on a number of different topics. We have the Compeer program, which offers the hand of friendship to someone with a mental health diagnosis. Volunteers in that program will spend 4 hours, no more. They're not asked for any more than that, being a friend to someone who has a mental health illness. When you have mental issues, you frequently become isolated because maybe your behavior isn't always what it should be, or you don't want to be around other people. And soon that spirals down into a very difficult situation. Not everyone has the fortitude to fight when they are undergoing difficult and stressful situations. So please pay attention to those around you. Mental health is mental wellness if we take care of each other. And keep in mind that a large percentage of the population has a mental health diagnosis of one kind or another. It may not be at an incapacitating level. They're functioning, they're going to work every day, they're going to school, they're moving forward in their life while dealing with depression or anxiety that might at times be crippling. So please be patient and kind with those around you, and keep in mind that you can reach out for help when you need it. There is no shame, and the stigma about mental health needs to disappear. We all need to be cognizant of what's going on with those around us and help them through. It's something that we all need to do for each other. Please pay attention to things that are going on. Pick up some of the information that I brought with me and have available. Take a stress ball and squeeze it and work out your frustrations. We're always there. We're always there to help. There is someone available to talk to you whenever you need it. There are places like Hope House that offer someone a place to go for a break. When things at home are too much, they can go stay at Hope House for a few days and take themselves out of a situation that might be very tense and stressful. So please keep all of that in mind. You know where I am. You can call me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you to all our speakers this morning. At this time, I would just like to share an interesting article. It was an old article, actually, from 2015, the Washington Post. It was a retired military person, and they said, be careful the way you wish someone Memorial Day. You know, if you think you can wish someone a Merry Christmas, a Happy Easter, you know, a happy birthday. But this person in the article, the Washington Post article, said that it may not be, I don't know if you want to say politically correct or not, but it's probably not a good idea, this person said, to wish someone a happy Memorial Day, because, you know, we spoke this morning on a number of different people mentioned in one way or another that Memorial Day is more of a somber holiday. It's not really a joyful holiday. And what they suggested, instead of saying Happy Memorial Day, say something to this effect. You could make up your own, but it's something to this effect would be, I hope you have a nice weekend. I will be remembering those that served our nation and are no longer with us. You could say something along that regard. And that's all I have to say about that. At this point, I would like to hear from our evaluators. Our first evaluator is Len Thornton. Len.
Time for a timers report on our speakers. They all qualified. Mike at 6:10, Jen at 7:16, and Jackie at 6:11.
Carol Ann, thank you very much for that. Do we take time to vote for best speaker? Thank you for our tech crew for putting the vote up. Timers report, best speaker. Now we could have our evaluator come up, Len Thornton. Thank you, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Mike treated us with a great speech today. And he did a lot of very impressive things befitting of an experienced Toastmaster. Number one, he came up here and he knew he was going to stray from the microphone at the lectern. So he put on the headset, turned it on, and made sure it was working effortlessly. I wish more people would avail themselves of this feature. We're not locked behind the lectern, and it was certainly befitting of the speech. He had a photo and he rehearsed ahead of time how he was going to show it to the people in Zoom land. I showed him how to take it right up to the camera before the meeting, and we verified that was the best way rather than messing with an electronic presentation there. A couple things which would have really punched up your speech, Mike. Bring the audience in, take a poll at the beginning. How many people eat salads? How many people have grown their own vegetables? And then you can lead into the perils of doing it in a traditional garden, the pests, the disease, having to water them, having the space to do them. You had a lot of great props, and I love that you put them on a cart and you worked with them. And it was very easy for everybody to see, and they really added to your speech. But where were the tomatoes? Where were the tomatoes? That's obviously a tomato plant. Bring some nice ripe red. That would have left a lasting impression on everybody. And you seem to be struggling a little bit with the finish. You had a couple of lines there and trying to wrap it up. Work on that a little harder, something really punchy, maybe a call to action or something about how much money we're going to save or how fun it's going to be when you see those flowers on the tomato plant bloom into tiny tomatoes and watch them grow and ripen, and how long you're going to have enjoy the bounty of your efforts. So punch that up a little bit. But we enjoyed it immensely. Your vocal variety, your eye contact were excellent, and you polished off a great speech here. Thank you for that. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Len. Next, we have Gerald Stevens. Gerald.
Morning again, fellow Toastmasters and our guests. And most thankfully, Jen, for our speech today. She introduced us in the beginning with the kind of giving a little intro about her previous speech, because maybe not everybody has heard her speech. So it was good to do that. Two things she did in the beginning I think, which were very good in helping us make a connection, which is important for the audience to do to a speech. She indicated that many people in the audience could be homeowners. And I feel there are a lot of homeowners in this audience. So brought us in with that, made a connection immediately. Everybody can relate to struggling to fix things at their house. I think if you have a house, especially if you own some rental properties like Mike Florio does, you probably can relate more than most. Also, a connection with pets. Even if you don't own a house, you may have had a pet at some point in your life, and maybe even a cat. So that was also another good connection. So kudos for that. Her speech was indeed entertaining, as I had hoped. Definitely included her typical humor, which I appreciate, and everybody loves to be entertained, especially me. I was happy that she was able to do the speech on short notice and pretty much pull it off. So showed fortitude, as I thought she might. As a Toastmaster, we have to give her some improvement pointers. I would love to have seen a few more gestures. Definitely could have indicated with a little more vocal variety how frustrating this was. For sure, could have thrown that in there. I think that would have been an easy one to do, but on short notice, got to give her a little bit of a break. Her speech was educational. So it showed a step-by-step of what you could do to avoid this thing. And she isn't alone, apparently. I thought she might have been the only person I've known that has this problem. But she did indicate that with some articles, so that was helpful as well. I had no idea the rules and regulations of animal control. I don't know if other people did. So that was helpful. You never know, you could have a varmint in your house or in your backyard. Thank you again, Jen, for displaying fortitude, coming back from vacation. You're a master at pulling off a speech in a short order. I wish I could do that myself. I am still working on it. Follow her example. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Gerald. Next, we have Joe Budnick evaluating Jackie Kenny's speech. Joe.
I want to thank you, Jackie, for giving a very powerful, very inspirational speech. A lot of really wonderful speeches do come from personal experience, and this one definitely shows your personal experience working in this field. I like how you tied into the current situation that's going on and expressed our concerns for the current events that have been going on lately. I, who work at a school, sometimes do have those concerns myself. We have the kids do lockdown drills quite often, which is not something they should have to do, but they do. We never did that when I was in school, but it's a sad fact that nowadays we do, and these kids have to be prepared if, God forbid, something does happen. You provided very valuable experience that you provided, and I also want to thank you for giving us some very, very valuable information that is helpful to all of us if any of us do need it. The 988 number, I think, is a wonderful idea for people that need help. And I also like the fact that you brought up the stigma of having mental issues has got to go. That's really got to go. And that's very difficult for people who are struggling with mental health or emotional health issues to reach out for help due to the stigma that is attached to it, which really has to go. It's like, if you need help, get help. And there's no shame in it. You know, mental health is just as important as physical health. And I like how you emphasize that as well. So help is available. And one of the most powerful things that you said was help each other. Help is available. Be aware around you. Look around if you see someone is upset. If you see someone is hurting, offer help if you can. So like I said, I like that speech came from your valuable work experience, from your work in the field. And as I said before too, this is very, very valuable information that is provided to the community and to society that is really definitely needed. I hope 988 does come up pretty soon, because that is something is definitely needed. So, because there are a lot of people, especially nowadays, with the tragedies that have occurred. So thank you again for providing a wonderful speech, an inspirational speech, and providing us with information that is very valuable and very helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you to all of our evaluators today. At this time, I'd like to call for a timer's report. Thank you, Carol Ann.
All of our evaluators have qualified. Len at 211, Gerald 244, and Joe 218.
Thank you, Carol Ann. At this time, we can take a moment to vote for best evaluator. And at this time, I'd like to call on our general evaluator, Sylvia, for her general evaluation of the meeting. Thank you, Sylvia.
Sorry, I was prepared, but I had to get the screen fixed. It was bothering me. So Marty, the topic today is very appropriate for this weekend. And I did enjoy knowing in the reminder, it's actually the best reminder when I hear things 200, 300, 400 times, that Memorial Day is to honor the people who have passed, serving our country, not Veterans Day. Yeah, it is a confusing holiday. Let's see, what do I have for you? I have many little things, little notes. You started very early. I think you get the record here. Very early, contacting us in email form to confirm our roles. That was last Thursday at 10:16 in the morning. That's how early you were, right after Toastmasters last week. And I noticed that and I said, I'm going to write that time down and talk about that. Then I was getting a little worried over the weekend that no one heard from you. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, did you drop the ball? But of course, you did not. All the roles were confirmed, your role holders and your speakers, which was great because it's hard to get speakers at this time of year. People travel. So everything ran smoothly with the roles. The thing I would suggest, Marty, is we need agendas. I'm still paper and pencil person. I'm not high tech. I do have this on my phone. You told us to use, but I like paper and pencil, and I don't know about people who are on Zoom, if they could have their laptops go to two places at once, if they're not high-tech people. As of our evaluators, we had 3 experienced evaluators. Len, I like that you came up right away and talked into the mic. And I think that brought everyone else after you to talk into the mic. You taught us without us knowing it. Dr. Gerald Stevens, I like that you brought your own little twist or humor into introducing Jen. You didn't have to use the objectives that was in her speech. And you complimented her many times that she did this speech after she returned from a vacation a couple days ago. I'm going to go back to Len now. He had the sandwich approach, commented about the headset. Yes, we need to talk about the headset to use it. Talked about how Mike was so prepared. He was prepared for Zoom people and us. And he had his demonstration of how to do the gardening. And I'm going to think about this. Cost of tomatoes is high right now, all fruits. Had great eye contact, Len, with Mike. You were talking directly right to him and us. And I hope the people at Zoom did see him also. Dr. Gerald Stevens also had the sandwich approach. Great contact, eye contact with us. I'm pretty sure Zoom people seen you also. Good suggestions. How to improve, very educational on how to get rid of a cat or get the cat out of the walls. Jen, did this happen to you personally? I hope not.
Yes, it did.
It did? Oh, man. Oh, man. And then you thanked her again at the end. Joe, I liked how you used the mic, how you came up. You didn't use a sandwich approach. I didn't hear any improvements for Jackie. Then you can't improve Jackie. She's perfect. So I agree with you. You thanked her a few times. You used your eye contact. You did talk to Jackie a bit. You had little small gestures. You could have maybe do a little larger. And you brought in a personal note there of teaching. And wouldn't want to be a teacher today world. Many reasons. And I think that is the end of my evaluation, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sylvia. Sylvia, would you like me to call for the rest of the reports? I can.
You may. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you very much, Sylvia. The first report I'd like to call for is our Master report from Mike Licata.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and good morning again to our guests as well. Marty, we have many experienced Toastmasters, so I think we've evolved from using so pregnant pauses, and we've evolved to using and so in our filler words. So we're all guilty of it. So I encourage all of our Toastmasters to stop, take a pause, and take a breath instead of using filler words and listen to our filler words, because we are graciously able to go back and listen to these meetings, watch these meetings online. So I do give everyone credit for evolving our filler words, but we still have to be aware of them going forward in the future. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike. Next up is our grammarian, Margot Bittner. Margot.
Hi. Steve, I know what it's like to have a Memorial Day birthday. My dad turns 90 this weekend, and he will be driving out for a party. So, yes. One other suggestion for you, Jen, as Mike can tell you, if you are trying to find a cat, shake your cat treat containers. I don't care where in the winery they are. I shake that darn containers, and they come from everywhere. So we had a lot of extra words this morning. Really very means to me is, just say it. I would like to say, you don't have to tell us you're going to say it, just say it, that's okay. We had a list of common phrases that impede our pursuit of smooth presentations. Kinda, going, cause, and so, as Mike just said, few start overs. We had a number of people who used the word thing and the word stuff. There are better nouns, I think, that we can use than thing and stuff. However, we had a list of phrases that really tickled my fancy. Cringeworthy, epiphany, Megillah. Does anybody know what a Megillah is? Okay, so do you know what a Torah is? Okay, so a Torah has two scrolls. A Megillah is a scroll that has, when you pull it out, it has the book of Esther, the book of Ruth. I will bring in a Megillah to show you. Personally, I always think about some gorilla. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm dating myself. I'm sorry for the younger people. Let's see, Boom Day. Jill, I love Boom Day. That really describes retail beautifully. Monitor the progress. Green thumb. I've got the blackest thumb going. I may be married to a farmer. I can't grow a soap plant. Cognizant. Atmosphere of stress and foreboding. Remediate. Befitting. And I absolutely adored Zoomland. Everybody out in Zoomland. Great phrase. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Margot. Next, I'd like to hear from our quiz master, Nancy Ferry.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. How well were you listening? Who is our guest today? Where
Mike
does he
Hayes.
live? Jersey. Where is he headed?
No, he lives in Lockport, he's in here.
Okay, he said he was in Jersey. Okay, where is he
He's there
headed?
for work.
So I am,
Oh, he's ready to, Nancy, he's ready to
I'm-
speak and
I'm
share.
ready. Yeah. So
He can
I'm in New
clarify.
Jersey for work right now, and I'm headed back to Buffalo. I live in Lockport.
All right. Glad you clarified it. Natalie's grandfather is buried in what country? Eric, what two holidays did he once confuse by a faux pas in social media? Right. Where was Jill's store?
Across from Brownies.
And next to the, right, where the fair is, right? And whose yard sale can we visit this Memorial Day weekend? Where's Marty going for the weekend? And what mental health number will be rolled out July? And what did Sylvia suggest to hand out and make available for our Toastmasters in person? And this one you won't know. I'm the Toastmaster next week, and the theme will be things to do in a lifetime, or things we must do in a lifetime. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. At this point, I would like to finish calling for reports, and we have some awards to give out. Kate, would you like to help with that? No, not Kate. Who do we have present that could help? Another officer could help hand the awards out?
You forgot the word master.
And the word master, Mark. Mark, how do we do with the word fortitude today, Mark?
Well, it would be easy to forget the word master because I was a little disappointed with how often fortitude was used today. Outside of table topics, I heard Margot use it. I heard Marty use it twice. Steve used it once, Len once. Dr. Gerald Stevens takes the prize 4 times, and our club mom used it once, but outside of those people, I didn't hear it any other times. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mark. Remember to use the word fortitude throughout your day today. Dave Licata at the helm. Dave.
Thank you very much, Marty. Fortitude, fortitude, fortitude. There. All right, Marty, not enough light on your face, but you had it centered very nicely in the middle of the shot, and you look to your right a bit too much. Steve Smith, good eye contact, nice gestures, and a really cute smooch, huh? Okay, Natalie, good hands, good eye contact. Eric, way to center your face in the shot. It was a tight shot. Was that the real sky in the background, or was that computer generated?
No, I took that picture from Lake Ontario at Crow Park, Dave.
Oh, great. Okay, the deal is though, if you were back a little bit more, you could have used hand gestures. You kind of squeezed yourself out. Katie, way to center yourself in the shot. Good eye contact. Mike Florio, next time, just pull this thing back to the wall, the lectern. Put your trolley, a word left over, I like that. Pull your trolley right up into the middle because there was times that we couldn't see the trolley. But what I learned today is that a paisan growing tomatoes. Who knew? Dr. Gerald Stevens, he used the enumeration gesture. That's always a good gesture. And his head was in the academic mode because he does teach. He instructs the other chiropractors. So he is well practiced and he brings his tools with him when he comes to AM Lockport Toastmasters. Jen, way to center yourself in the shot. We saw your fingertips. Had you moved back a few, maybe a couple of inches, we could have seen your whole hands. But you were centered nicely. Your lighting was good. You did a nice job. Joe Budnick, when you came up the first time, you weren't close enough to the microphone, but on your second trip up, you were. That was nice. And you also gave us the full academic stacked room of gestures. Jackie Kenny, sincerity came through with her gestures. She kept her hands moving. Her head was moving gently from left to right. She gave us a lesson in contained passion today. Len Thornton, when he said punch it up, he made that gesture. He made a fist. So kudos for that. And he also used the academic finger wave as well. So we appreciate that. Len can Zoom with the best of them. There's no doubt in my mind. Sylvia used a whole catalog of Toastmasters gestures. And I got to say that because I don't know if you're an academician or not. So I think we helped you with your gestures over your years of being in the club. You were conscious of the fact that this microphone was swallowing your face and you kept pulling it out of the way. So that was good too. Mike Licata once again shared with us his famous hand clasp. And I'm not off the hook because once we get home, he'll have plenty of pointers from me. That's it. That's it from your floor manager at WTOSAT. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And that wraps up the reports. A couple of them were out of order to my neglect here. Anyway, we're wrapping up the meeting. And at this point, if there's an officer that can present the awards, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Well, I can happily present awards from here, and Jill is there in person, so she can use that gavel. I have a gavel. At some point, not in Toastmasters, somebody was getting rid of one, and I said, "Oh no, I'll take that. Thank you very much." I think if someone remembers this story differently, I feel like Margot might remember the story differently. If I got a gavel from anyone, it would be somehow connected to Margot. Jill, did you have the awards? Because I do. I'm not sure if she is just protecting the lectern, but she is in person as a presiding officer. But it's 8:20 a.m. and she's got split club. Perfect. So it's also 8:20 a.m. and I have 3 announcements, but let's do the awards first. We have today best table topics to start it off. Guess who? Jill. She knew in advance. She's there to accept her ribbon, not from me. We'll get that for you at the end. It's probably there on the lectern, or Sylvia or Len can get it for you.
Get one out of the closet.
And our best evaluator today is Len. Great job, Len. Best evaluator. Wonderful. And Michael Hayes just said, have a great week. We'll see him next week. Have a safe trip back. Thank you, Mike, and goodbye. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Our best speaker of today is Jackie Kenny. Jackie, come on up to the lectern and draw our split club ticket. As you're coming, I will announce the announcements. First off, 2 weeks from today, Jill is our Toastmaster of the day, but she has kindly given the day to DECA. 2 weeks from today is June 9th, and Kristen will be bringing her DECA class to the YWCA. It is to be determined this coming week whether they will run the meeting or they will shadow or
I
observe.
have the info. I will.
Oh, fabulous. Jill has the details about that. I'll give two more announcements and then hand it back to you ladies because you can close the meeting. The other announcement will be about officers incoming and outgoing. We're still deciding our induction, our installation of officers date, probably the end of June, but we would like to do a luncheon like we did last year. We're probably looking at June 26th. So let me know if you have any questions about that date. The third is a save the date. For anybody not from this area, 716 Day is to celebrate the area code here. The area code is 716 in the Buffalo. 716 is July 16th. It's falling on a Saturday this year. And a couple of things are happening, and I'd like to plan a field trip day for the first time in quite a while. It's 8:22 a.m. I promise I'll make this under a minute. So we've gone to Canada before. That's a little challenging right now. We've done a lot of other things. Let's stay in the 716. And I propose a day that you can come in for all of it to Buffalo or come when you can. The first thing would be to visit the Botanical Gardens. They are charging $7.16 to the Buffalo Botanical Gardens to celebrate 716 Day all day. And we could go to the Botanical Gardens sometime in the early afternoon. How about then we end our day at Shakespeare in Delaware Park? The show is going then as you like it, and we can picnic. Bring your coolers, bring your picnics. We can get a good spot way before they start after we finish at the Botanical Gardens. So that's my idea. I will keep you posted. Thank you very much, everybody. And oh, Jackie's in the right place because she just passed level 2 in her most recent path that she's working on. I believe it's motivational speaking. Wonderful job, Jackie. I'm going to try to do a better job of announcing those as they happen. So thank you, ladies at the lectern. The meeting is back to you. It's 8:23.
And our winner in the split club is 345326.
Sorry, everyone.
It's not Gerald. He was very expressive. I could even see that from here.
You know what? I put my ticket in there instead of, so I could have won, but I'm gonna donate it back anyway. So.
Okay. Yeah, because she had 2 chances to win there.
Right, so, you know.
As to the DECA meeting, when they come in, for one thing, we're gonna need quite a few more tables and chairs. Because the list I have seen, there's probably at least 15 or 16. I don't have a memory. I looked at the email last night. I left my phone on the table at home today. I can't look it up. So that we're just, I'll have more information next week on that. We're definitely gonna need more tables and chairs set up for that. They also will be bringing us donuts or goodies or something too. So that's, and I wish everybody would put on your name tags for that day. We'll make sure and get the box out. And if you have your name tag at home or someplace and you have not been wearing it, it will be very helpful to the kids that day. They are going to be running most of the meeting, but their normal meeting is only about 40 minutes. So we have some extra roles. I haven't sat down and tried to put it on the agenda online yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. I don't know if I can put their names in or if I can just leave it blank, or if I can't put their names in, I will put my name in for all the roles that they're filling on the online one. So that's what I have come up with. If I can't put their names in. And that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything? Bang the. We are closed.
Hi, Nancy. I'm glad you got that figured out. Oh, now you're on mute. We can chit chat. They muted, like the room can hear us, but we can't hear their music and
Oh
chit
my
chatting.
goodness, can you hear me?
Yeah.
That was
I
easy.
got about 2 minutes. I've got about 2 minutes before I have a meeting I have to jump over to. So I'm glad we ended on time today.
It's good to
That
see
was,
you.
It is great to see you. So
Yeah.
your travels have brought you home again.
My travels brought me to Florida for 3 weeks to spend time with my sister, my 2 older nieces, but in their 40s, my 2 older nephews in their 40s, a new grandniece and nieces and nephews. I didn't think it would, but spontaneous, but well needed. Like 20 years, I'd say, went by.
Wow. I can't believe you
But
have
you can
nieces and
spend
nephews in their 40s. Oh my gosh.
I know, but you know, like when you turn 20, you go like that world experience route. And when you start having kids, you're not going to go hang out with your aunt all the time when you're not local, you know?
That's true. I got to spend some bonding time with my little niece and nephew last week. And my sister does that a lot more often with the niece and nephew. But she even has a room in her apartment that has toys and beds for them. Because they're just this month turning 9 and 12, if I'm right. I'm that bad of an aunt that I get the years wrong sometimes. But I picked them up to take to a birthday party. And that was a lot of fun for a mutual
How's your
friend.
job?
It's going great. I am loving it. That's what I have to jump to a meeting in a minute, but it's
I'm
right up my
glad.
alley. It's so worthwhile. I don't know if I even told you. So I'm working for the Red Cross. I think I
Yeah.
did. Yeah. And I am promoting blood drives full time. And I finally finished training last week. So I'm immersed fully into it and getting to know everybody. And it's such a great cause. It makes me feel like the skill
Yeah.
set that I have, I can bring to something that I really enjoy.
Totally. You can motivate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm,
So, and I've
I
met
gotta
so
look-
many people, I guess like in years before the pandemic, what I do, people that do what I do with the Red Cross would always go to Dallas to train with everybody else. They would like put you in a class together for anybody hired in the previous few months. And now it's all on Zoom. So it's instead on Zoom, but there were, 25 students in our class from all across the country, from California to Maine, all across the US. And we're in Puerto Rico too, but we didn't have anybody in our class from Puerto Rico. But it's pretty amazing to learn the scope of the Red Cross. I mean, it's pretty well known. People have heard of it, but I've certainly learned a lot about what I'm going to be
Well,
doing.
it's such a great cause, I'll tell you. I'll
Thank
be
you.
getting mine. I promised you when you got the job, I'm going. So now that I'm home, I'll get my car back. I'm in
Maybe
for a
we'll do it
job.
together. I haven't even donated blood yet myself. I
Sure,
want
I'd
to be
love to.
somewhere.
I would
I
love
wanna
to get
be-
together with you. Yeah,
Let's do it.
anytime.
Let's do it.
I'm
And
really
save the date for that
flexible.
July 16th. That's more of a group outing anyway, but if you're not out of town again, July 16th is the 716 day I was just talking about. So that should be a fun field
Yeah.
trip.
I
But,
was raised right by the botanical gardens.
oh, wow.
So when
My
you said
goodness.
it, I was like, oh gosh, yeah.
It's
Dear to my
yeah.
heart.
Yeah, let's catch up soon. I'll text you. How about?
Okay.
But I gotta run.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.